All right, my Renowned fam, welcome back to the Renowned Leadership Podcast. I am your host, Stephen Morris, and today I'm bringing you Traci Bermingham. And I am like, y'all are going to love this because Traci promises that she's going to get you, or teach you rather, how to reclaim 20 plus hours out of your week. And I don't know about y'all, but like every single day of my life for like the past several years, I'm like, man, I wish it was 25 and a half hours in a day instead of 24. 24 is such a stupid number. Like, how did, like, it doesn't need 24, doesn't even make sense, man. We need 25, at least 25 and a half. Anyway, Traci's here. She's going to tell us how she teaches her clients to reclaim more time in their life, to do the things that's important to them, the things they love. And it's going to be amazing, amazing if I can speak correctly. Traci, welcome to the podcast. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So go ahead and give us your background a little bit.
Yeah, so I am a California girl, currently living in North Carolina. It's been 15 years now. I still feel like I'm a newbie. But I grew up in San Diego, lived in San Francisco for about 10 years. And while I was there, I've been a project manager for 25 plus years now. So in San Francisco, I did a lot of corporate project management, launching products and services through Visa and Charles Schwab and The Gap and Banana Republic and Del Monte Foods. And I probably launched over $1 billion worth of sales, services, and products into the world. And about 15 years ago, got my husband, got married, had my first baby, and we moved to North Carolina. And we're in small town USA. There is no corporate anything here. So I really quickly had to adjust, and I went into virtual world. And for about 15 years now, I've been working with virtual clients. I am kind of that project management space. And I always laugh, in the corporate world, if you have 6 months to launch something or get something out there, it's a short amount of time. We're lucky if we've got 2 weeks in this entrepreneurial virtual space, right? Especially being able to pivot really quickly into new opportunities, new ideas coming. So what I found is that businesses right now, they when I get in there, I'm back-end operations person. I get in there and they're just a total hot mess. Like they haven't taken a vacation in 10 years. They aren't sleeping well. They're waking up at 2 or 3 in the morning because there's so much to do and they're so worried about things. And they've got team members, but the team members are dropping the ball, and there's fire drills every day, and they're just trying to keep their heads afloat. And so I come in and I just kind of smooth it all out, and I create the systems, I create the processes, I teach them how to delegate, all of those things so that they can actually reclaim their time. And they actually, and for me, it's like, you can reclaim the time, and you can either choose to up-level yourself and actually do more important things in your business, or you can just take a break, right? And just go on that vacation and actually know that your business is in good hands with your team, and that it's taken care of, and that the things that you want are done the way you want them done on a regular, consistent basis.
Yeah, I understand everything you just said, because that's pretty much me, except it's by choice for me. Because I love putting out the fires, and I love working hard. But no, that's cool because, well, first of all, North Carolina, I own a house in Asheville. Do you know where that is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Beautiful. Like Asheville's absolutely beautiful.
It's not actually in Asheville. It's in a place called Hot Springs, about 30 minutes northwest of Asheville.
Okay.
But they have natural hot springs there. It's awesome. It's on top of a mountain, overlooking a valley. Love it there. It's so beautiful. Anyway, no, I totally understand everything you're saying. What are the most common pitfalls, or the most common the issues that you're guaranteed, like you're going to see with every client? What are the three most common?
So the most common is that it is the business owner who is causing the trouble. So it is, we are as business owners, right? Like we're in our heads, we think we're the only ones that can do it the right way. We don't know how to delegate
I would
effectively.
never
So
do that.
right? Like we're the only what else? We're the bottlenecks, right? So everything has to come through us in order to get done. And we already don't have enough hours in the day. So our teams are stuck and they can't move forward because you can't get to it yet, right? Like all of those things. So, and I guess number two, kind of at that point, is that there's no work management tool in place. It's all happening within the business owner's head on what needs to get done. So what happens is that they're running their businesses out of fire drills, right? Because it's like, this needs to get done immediately versus actually planning out and prioritizing and figuring out what is the most important thing that is going to move my business forward today. That's not how they're managing. And because there's so much in their heads, that's why they're not sleeping. That's why mistakes are made. That's why they don't get all of the information to their team. That's why they're delayed. That's why they're missing launches. Like all of those things are happening because it's in their head and they're trying to manage their business that way. It's driving them crazy. It's driving their teams crazy, and it's causing issues
It's
as
so
well
hard to
across the board.
communicate also when everything is like trapped in your head. It makes it exponentially harder to communicate because you feel like everything needs to be communicated all at the same time.
Yeah.
And what I've noticed is a lot of times when people do that, they're going to be communicating one thing at 1 second, then they'll jump to communicating another thing, then they jump to communicating another thing, and then they're back at the first thing, and then they're all the way over in left field somewhere communicating something else. And the communication, just like you said, it gets bottlenecked, it gets jammed up, and nothing actually of importance ever gets communicated. And as leaders, communication is one of our sole responsibilities. Like, or I say one of our sole, that's an oxymoron. That's stupid. Strike that. It is our sole responsibility. Communication is so important, and our people can't function if we don't communicate.
Right.
So when you run into these entrepreneurs, and I imagine it's frequent, because when I said I would never do that, it was a joke. I totally can see myself doing that. But fortunately, my team can be like, yo, dude, like you are causing problems, go away.
Right. Leave us alone. Right.
And so
Yeah.
how do you communicate that to the entrepreneurs? And I'm guessing a loving way,
You
maybe
got to be
not so
gentle.
loving.
You got to be gentle, right? And it's, it's a lot of what I do. I mean, we're in the spot, number one, because we've never been taught the operation side, right? Like there's so much information on sales, on marketing, on how to bring traffic in, all of those things. The back end operations, how to delegate effectively, how to manage, how to train new people and hire new people in kind of an efficient, effective way that isn't pulling your hair out, and you don't need to like stop everything you're doing and spend the next 2 weeks 100% training the new person coming in, right? Like all of those things, we're not taught how to do it. So it's number one, kind of going a little bit easy on ourselves, because a lot of people are embarrassed by the mess that they've created, and they know it's a mess. It's kind of like that closet that it's literally jam packed, and you don't want to open the door because you know it's all going to fall, but you just keep kind of shoving stuff in there and just closing it really fast to, right? Like that's what these businesses are. And they pretend like there's nothing behind the closet and that the whole house is spotless, but actually
You
it's a
open that
mess,
door, it's
right?
an avalanche.
You open
Yeah.
that door and, right? And so a lot of times they're just embarrassed by that, and embarrassed kind of how bad they've let it get. So it's that, and it's just having a real conversation with them, kind of about what is happening, and allowing them to see that, no judgment, it is what it is, right? Like we just got to clean it up. And there's a level of like, our businesses are our babies, right? Nobody cares more than we do. And so a lot of the control issues that we have and why we're the bottleneck and why we're doing things the way we do them is because we have a really hard time letting go and trusting other people to care as much as we do it the way that we want it done, and to make it the way that we would want to make it. Right?
There are three ways I want to go. Because first thing is you shared something with me when we talked previously about ways you like to train your people, virtual people, which I would love for you to share. And then delegation, obviously, we got to talk about delegation, and then trust. I mean, you brought that up too. We got to talk about that. I don't know which one of those three do you want to start with? I'll let you pick because I don't know where I want to start.
Yeah, let's start with, so you're at that place, right? You're having that conversation with them, but now what? Right? Because they still don't trust. Nobody still cares as much as we do, right? And we still have control issues, right? Like I laugh with my husband because I tell him, like I'm the most easygoing woman in the world. Like he's so lucky he married me because I'm just so easygoing. The fact is, I like things the way I like them, and he just says, okay. Right. So like those things. So it's like, I think I'm easygoing, but like if I were literally anyone else were in the room, they're like, what are you? Right. Like this is how
Right.
I want it done. Right. I'm the same way in my business, but I set it up so that I am comfortable. And that's the key, right? Like I'm comfortable with releasing that because I know that it's being done correctly.
Right.
Right.
And you shared such a useful tool to me. And that was because I was complaining, like, I do things because I just don't like the way other people do them.
Yep.
It's not that I don't trust them. It's that I've tried to let them do it. I didn't like it. So it's like, I'll do it myself.
Yep.
And so you shared using Loom and recording yourself and just walking through the whole process.
Yes. So here's the thing, and here's how I start a lot with clients. Number one, whenever you're starting, and so we'll kind of mix the delegation in here with the training piece, but when you're starting to delegate, always do the lowest admin tasks first. Those are the easiest things to get off your plate. They're going to be the easiest things for you to delegate. They're going to be the most comfortable with you to do it. Right. So number one, we're going to start with lower admin tasks. Let's use, so how to delegate effectively and like keep your control freak comfortable with doing it right and making sure it's done right. Here's what I do in my business and how I teach my clients to do it. So there's all kinds of software, but the one that I use is loom.com. And it's screen recording software. You just click a button and it shares what you've got on your screen. So what I do is, let's say that I'm doing a blog post. So number one, you don't have enough time. So like in your day already. So training people and trying to teach them stuff, don't take extra time to do it. Like do not do that. Just the next time that you're going to do let's say you have a weekly blog. The next time you're going to do your weekly blog, record yourself doing it. And describe what you're doing while you're doing it. I'm pushing this button because I want it to do this. This is how I want it to look. This is how I want it, right? And so you're going through the exact motions of, I grab this link over here, I add this visual right here, I'm going to put a video component in here, and this is how I want it to look exactly. And then I click publish. I set the date for 1 week from today, and it's scheduled and ready to go, right? So you're talking about exactly what you're doing as you're doing it. Because you're doing it, you're doing exactly what you want done to get that blog out. Right? So then what happens is I use monday.com as my work management tool. I absolutely love it. I've been doing this for 25 years. It's literally the only work management or project management tool that I've used that the teams actually like using. So if the teams like using it, then we're getting a heck of a lot more done and accomplished and right? We're much more efficient when we do it this way. So what I do is I will create, because I've got this weekly blog, I will create an automated task. And in that automated task that will go out a week before when I want that blog post scheduled and in there, And I will add my Loom video that I just created on how to do that, so that every time that task pops up for my admin person, whoever is taking on that task, they will have, with the task assignment, they will have exactly how I want it done. And so the next time they take over, what happens is the next time they take over, they'll do the blog and they'll let me know. And when they let me know, what I do is I go and I review what they've done. I review it with a Loom video. So I give them feedback on, I change it as I'm doing it, as I'm going through. So it's how I want it done. And I'm recording what I'm doing and why I'm doing it and what I want them to do differently. I provide that feedback to them. And I do that for a few weeks until they're doing it exactly as I want it. And I'm comfortable that they know exactly how I want this done. And then I can let it go, because I know that that's how they're going to do it ongoing forevermore. And the really cool thing I have to say, kind of my side note here, I had a VA, this was a couple years ago now, that she was overseas, and one day she just like ghosted us. And we found out like months later that she actually broke her computer and couldn't get us a message, but she just one day stopped responding to anything. I was able to bring in another VA who I literally did not have to train, because I had created the videos. So all they had to do was, when that came up, they just clicked on the video that was already associated with that task and was able to hit the ground running. And it was, and I just had to check and give feedback for a few weeks, and then off we go.
Yeah, it's so brilliant. And I'm a little upset with myself that I never thought of it. I mean, it's absolutely brilliant. And I'm excuse me, I'm so sorry. I thoroughly believe in working smarter, not harder. Which that's one of your big things too. You believe, correct me if I'm wrong, is the hustle, as Gary Vee calls it, hustle porn. That's not how you get success. Talk a little bit about why hustle's dead and what's replaced it.
Yeah, I think I hate the hustle. I don't want to work that hard. And what I mean by that is, not, I don't want to work hard, but I love what I do, right? I love being in the middle of it, but I don't want it to feel like I'm being tortured every day and that I'm like punishing myself at the pace that I'm going. Like, I want to actually build a business that I enjoy, and I want to go hang out with my kids. And we have a beach house out Emerald Isle area, like Southern Outer Banks. I want to go there as much as I can, right? Like, there are so many things. I love to read. I literally would rather be reading than go out and socialize, right? Like, I want to do these things. And so in all honesty, I want to create an unsexy business. I want it to be boring. I want it to be consistent. I want it to grow. I want to make an impact on people's lives. I want to help them to see what's more is out there for them and the impact that they can make. And I want it to be aligned. And that's, for me, is it's a business that is aligned. It's a business that is smooth and not necessarily easy, because there's always challenges, but the challenges are satisfying versus miserable making, right, in the process. Right. And so it's just, you're smoothing everything out. And, I'm all about, we kind of like athletes, right? Like athletes, high level athletes, elite athletes, they get into the zone, right? And they get into just these flow states, right? Where they are just on fire. I want my business, and I want to live like that all day, every day. But the athletes don't just show up one day and that's how they perform, right? And within our businesses, we can actually create that flow state. Like, it's actually building the alignment, building the flow state into every single aspect of our business is what I'm looking to do. I'm not interested in hustling. I'm not interested in working a gazillion hours a day. I'm interested in smoothing that out. And when I get into my business, I am in the flow state. I am in my zone of genius. And that is what I'm doing all day. And that means that, like, my impact, my scalability, my everything is going to be amplified.
So to the entrepreneurs listening to this, they're like, that sounds great. How?
It's really boring, and it's really like and the reason we haven't done it and nobody talks about it is because it literally is the unsexy stuff. It's literally figuring out what the processes are, figuring out what the systems are, creating them, and delegating, right? Like over and over delegating. So you're delegating the lower level stuff that is not, you don't love, if you don't love doing it, find someone else who does love doing it and pass it on to them. And right, build a business where you've got a bunch of people that love doing their certain parts. And maybe it's the part you hate. I love finding the people that are like the opposite of, you know, my when I hate doing something, I find the person that's their happy place. Like, we're in business, right? So, but it's stacking. It's almost like it's it's like brick by brick, right? You need to build a solid foundation, and it's like one process at a time. It's like, figure out the blog post. Okay, there's one brick, pop it on there, right? And then the next one is how to invoice a client, pop it on there, right? The next one is your onboarding process and how to do that effectively and efficiently, pop that on there, right? And so you're building just this foundation over and over and over again. It's not this massive, all of a sudden you've got this structure tomorrow that you're now working towards. It's brick by brick that you're creating the processes and creating the foundation. And then once you've got that layer, you stack another layer on, and then you stack another layer on, and you just continuously go until you've got this solid foundation. And that's what makes the solid business that is in alignment and is able to be in the flow state, because you've got all of that foundation working on your behalf without needing you specifically, which means you get to rise up and do the next level.
Right. The next big thing that's
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah.
make your business even bigger.
Yep.
And I'm a little bit different than you because I do enjoy hustle. I do enjoy running at top speed as long as I can. And everybody's different. And, you know, like people, you know, my coaches beat on me all the time because they're like, dude, like you work way too much, man. You need
Well,
a
so then,
break.
can I ask
And
you a
it's
question
like,
though?
sure.
Do you love everything that you're doing while you're
Oh,
hustling right now?
absolutely.
All of it?
Yeah, that's why I do
Well,
it.
then cool. You're in the right spot. You're in your alignment.
Like, of course, there are things I don't that I'm like, okay, let me get this done because you know I don't really enjoy it. Social media would be one.
Mhm.
I hate. I mean, I hate social media, but you know you got to do it.
Mhm.
So what I've done is I've found ways to make it easy, and I still don't enjoy it, but it doesn't take me. You know, I can sit down and write a 5,000 word blog post in like an hour, and writing a 300 word Facebook post will take me 3 hours. Just be I don't know what it is about social media. I just hate social media, and I don't feel like I'm good at it. And so I've created systems or within around that it's like, okay, I take this, I put it here, and it helps
Mhm.
me create. That way I don't really have to deal with it as much. But I mean, the things yeah, I absolutely love what I do. And I think that's the difference. And the day I stop loving what I do is the day I stop doing it. And I was just talking to somebody yesterday. Never in my life have I had a job that is just like, oh, God, I don't want to go to work. Right. Like, I love the military. I love this. The company I worked at before I started this, I love that. And so I can't imagine what it's like to wake up and be like, I hate my job.
Mhm.
And I feel so, so bad for people that do.
Agreed.
And I wish I could just like shake them, and be like, you don't have to do it. Like, there are other ways, but they feel so stuck and so, I guess, respond. I don't know. But honestly, I can't imagine anything that would force me to stay in a job. But anyway,
I
we're
hear
getting
you,
off
but you're
topic.
willing to do the hard things, right? Like
Yes.
getting out of like those people that are stuck, they're in their comfort zone. And even though their comfort zone sucks, it's what they know,
Right.
right? You're able to go through and do the hard things, maybe not do it perfectly the first time, but learn and grow and move forward and figure it out eventually, right? Like, and I think that there are a lot of us entrepreneurs like that, right? That we figure that out along the way. And I think that you just have the courage to actually go do that, right? And maybe you're uncomfortable and maybe it really sucks for a time, and that's okay. We'll get through it. A lot of people can't do that. What I
Yeah.
see a lot is that business owners have, it's almost like they've like painted themselves into a corner. Like, because all of the system, I say all of the systems, all of the non-systems are so jumbled and so crazy that they can't
Right.
move, like they can't get out of it. So they're kind of in that, they don't know how to get out and to move forward and to kind of smooth all that out and clean all that up.
Right. And I think where I differ from a lot of entrepreneurs is, um, well, like you said, I'm not scared to take chances. I went horribly in debt to do this. Um, because I wanted to hire coaches.
Yeah.
And coaches, the coaches I wanted to hire were $30,000, $10,000,
Right.
$45,000. Because it's like I said, I believe in working smarter, not harder.
Correct.
So it's like, let me hire these people that have done what I'm trying to do so that they can teach me. And so a lot of these systems you're already Monday.com, love Monday.com.
Yeah.
Like I knew about that day one. Like
Yeah.
that was one of the first things I was told, like, you got to get this.
Yep.
And so like all of that stuff kind of came pre-ordered for me, I guess. So but still, I don't want to paint the picture that, everybody's got to go be an entrepreneur to be happy. But for the love of God, comfort is, the absence of growth. If you're comfortable, you're in the wrong place. You got to be uncomfortable to grow. If you go to the gym and you're comfortable every day, your muscles aren't going to get bigger. You're not going to run faster, whatever the case is. You got to be uncomfortable at the gym to grow. Same thing in your life, everything. You got to be uncomfortable to grow. So if you're in a comfort zone and you're scared to leave your job, then you got to start looking at options, because life is way too short to wake up every day and hate everything about your life. Way too short. And it's fixable. You just got to be willing to put in the work. Anyway, I'm off my soapbox now.
Agreed. It's one of my passions too. It's like, choose your life and then go for it, right?
Right.
Like, choose what you want and then do not accept anything else ever, right? And it's that same concept of people just kind of let life happen instead of choosing the things that are going to make them happy and going and figuring out how to do that.
Right. I believe that 100. I choose. I don't believe in luck. I don't believe in circumstance. I don't. Every day, every action I take is a purposeful decision that I've made to push myself in the direction I want to go. And my audience has heard me talk about this a million times, but this is my goal journal, and it
Yep.
goes 10 years out. And people look at me like I am absolutely insane when I tell them that they need to plan 10 years ahead of time. Maybe I probably should plan even further, but 10 years is where I stopped. So that's what I do. But every year I sit down on January 1st and I go through it and I pick three things. All right, in 2024, this is where I'm going to be. And then I reverse engineer everything down, all the way down to the week and the day. So today, the actions I took outside of my normal daily business, running my business stuff, the actions I take are to grow in the direction I want to go. And when I'm talking to people, it's like, look, if I'm telling you to drive from Los Angeles to New York, what's the first thing you're going to do? You got to drive. What's the first thing? I'm not asking rhetorically. What's the first thing you
I
do?
totally hear you. And this is an example I use, so I'm laughing. I would
Okay.
type it into my GPS.
GPS, because you
Uh,
need to know directions on how
you're
to
not
get to
just going to
where.
get in the car and head
Yeah.
west and hope, fingers
Well,
crossed, you're going to get there.
I mean,
Yes.
eventually you might, but you'll probably be 80 by the time you get there.
Yep.
And who wants that? So yeah, man, you gotta plan. And I think where people get stuck is they make these New Year's resolutions, right? Which I absolutely hate New Year's resolutions. I don't believe in them. What I do is not New Year's resolution, but people make these vague, I want to lose 50 pounds. Okay, but what does that mean? Why do you want to lose 50 pounds? What's the purpose of losing 50 pounds? Do you want to be healthier? Are you overweight? Do you have diabetes? Like, why? Like, if you don't understand the direction and the purpose and the why behind all of what you want out of life, you're never going to get it, right? Everything is intentional. When you look at Michael Jordan, everything he did in his daily routine was intentional to become the best basketball player. Tom
Right.
Brady, same. Elon Musk, same. Uh, what's his name? Apple guy. Oh, shoot. Totally forgot his name. What is he just passed away not too long ago.
Oh, geez. And so now you started. Now I know exactly who you're talking about. Give me like 2 minutes. We'll change the topic and then I'll.
Anyway, uh, homeboy, like he didn't even pick his clothes. Like he wore the same
Yeah.
thing every single day because that was just easy and it was one less decision he had to make. Like he lived life intentionally and on purpose, right? And the a lot of people think I'm crazy for
So
this
here's
too.
what I want to, but really quick,
Okay.
I want to kind of take practical piece there on that as well. You mentioned that you choose your goals, you map them out, right? You put them in the GPS, you figure out kind of the turn by turn of everything you need to do every day, right? It's relative baby steps,
Yeah.
right? Like it's not if you do everything every day to hit that goal in a year's time, it's not a ton to do every day,
No.
right? So the thing though with it is that in my experience, it's all about baby steps. People think I want to lose 50 pounds and this is huge, big thing. It's not. It's literally every single day, small, consistent, boring actions of consistently one step in front of the other baby steps. You just got to eat better every single day on a consistent basis, and that 50 pounds will come off. It's not like I'm going to go to the gym for the next 5 days and that 50 pounds is going to be gone, right? Like
Right.
that's not how it works. So we might be motivated up front, but it's because you're taking the small, boring, consistent, every single day actions that they're not big things. It's not like you're all of a sudden getting $1 million deal, whatever. It's the consistent email. You're sending one email out every single day to promote or, whatever it is. Like it's an email a day that is going to get you that big goal, not the big, right? And I find with my clients, like literally just move forward consistently and you will get there. Like that, literally, it's that forward motion with consistency.
Consistency and patience. And
Yes.
I forgot what I was going to say, but I was going to say the reason New Year's resolutions ultimately fails because people don't see action or don't see results
Yeah.
within those first couple of weeks.
Yep.
And then they, like you said, they get bored and they're like, ugh. But it's like you said, it's that consistent, boring action. And I love how I've never thought of it like that, but you're absolutely right. It is boring.
Mm-hmm.
But it's okay to be bored, right? We don't have to be entertained 24/7, 365. It's okay to be bored every once in a while. And you're right. I hate running, but I do it every day,
Right. Right.
right? Like because it's good for me, it keeps me in shape, and it helps me achieve the goals I want to achieve. Some of my best ideas come from like when I'm sucking at life on a run. So,
Yep.
but anyway, like stop sabotaging yourself and expecting immediate results. Instant gratification is one of the most detrimental things that's ever happened to our society.
Yep.
We aren't patient. Like, is my business where I want it to be? Nah. It's probably a tenth in the scale of compared to what yours is. And that's okay. I'm okay with it. I'm okay admitting it. I'm okay. There are companies like mine that would crush me. That's fine. Right. I'm not there yet. I've only been doing this for a year and a half, but I will be there one day because I'm patient, I'm strategic, and I do things on purpose. So yeah, absolutely agree 100%. And the biggest thing I think for me is that I always I'm eternally optimistic. I'm eternally positive.
Yep.
And it's like it doesn't matter how horrible my day's going. It's like it's okay. and of course I have bad days, and everybody has bad days, and that's okay to have a bad day. There are days I don't meet a single goal for that day.
Yep.
And it's like, ugh, what a crappy day. And it's fine. I don't get frustrated. Well, that's a lie. I get very frustrated.
Totally.
But I get myself out of it. And it's like, okay, get back on track.
You keep showing up.
Yeah. Just consistent. And there are days where I've shown up to go run and it's like, I really don't want to do this. And, halfway into my run, it's like all of a sudden I feel better.
Yeah.
It's easier to run. So just be consistent, peeps, and just figure it out, because life is too short to hate every single day. If you have kids and you want to be with your kids, then be with your kids. Figure it out. I promise there's a way. Just it breaks my heart to hear people literally crying because they hate their job so much. It breaks my heart. I couldn't imagine.
I agree. And for me, I want the and lifestyle, right? Like I want it all. Right. And so I want to figure out a way to have my business, right? And like my business isn't where I want it either. I would like to grow my business as well. And I want time with my kids. And I want time with my husband. And I want to go on vacation, right? Like all of these things, like I want to do it all. And so I will choose to figure out how to do that. Right. Like, and I'll figure it out. And when I say choose, a lot of times it's going through the crap, right? Like it's going through just limiting beliefs and stuff that I've set up that's not working, but I just keep doing it anyways. And right, like all of those things that it's like, it's kind of looking at stuff and going, yeah, like it's kind of unflattering sometimes, right? Like you look at it and you're like, like not my best moment. And I now have learned and I will grow from it and I'll do better. Right. And so it's just doing that ongoing and choosing to go through that. Right. Because a lot of times people don't want to open up the closet and look and see what's there. So it's choosing to actually go through the closet and spread it all across the room and like see what you got.
It's funny. If you want a great example of what you're talking about, go listen to my first podcast.
Okay.
It's yeah. Like I took it down and people got mad at me for taking it down, so I put it back. But like I took like the first like 10 down, just cringe, like so bad. But the way I did it.
Yeah, that's growth. That's
Yeah,
growth.
absolutely.
That's part of it. That's learning. I love that.
And the way I did it, the way I started is I don't like podcasts. I don't like listening to them. I listen to very few. And so when everybody's like, dude, you should start podcasting. You got a great story. You can speak well. You're entertaining. I'm like, why would I want to start a podcast? I absolutely hate podcasts. The podcasts are dumb. Mm-hmm. And so like my coaches kept beating me up on it, beating me up. And finally I broke. I'm like, fine, I'll do this stupid podcast. And I got to thinking about it and it's like, look, if I research it, then I'm going to find every excuse in the book on not doing it. Right. Oh, I'll after I take this class on podcasting, I'll start. And then after I read this book on podcasting, I'll start.
Right. And then after I listen to these 20 podcasts, I'll start.
Right,
yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so it's like, nope, I'm not going to do that. So I just got my dad to agree to do some with me and got him over here. I didn't even have a webcam. Did I have a microphone? I might have had a microphone. I did. And I got the wrong one because that thing captured every sound. Yeah. The echo was so bad. And like, I couldn't even get like a coherent sentence out of my mouth. Mm-hmm. It was so bad. But anyway, like I stuck with it, got through the cringe. And I'm not saying I'm good at it now, but I'm better. I'm definitely 20 million times better than I was. And so like you said, you got to open the closet, let all the stuff fall on your face and start shoveling it back out. Right. And sorting through it. I love it. I want to get back on topic a little bit.
Yep.
And I want to talk about delegation some more because delegation is something people struggle with a lot. And I see entrepreneurs struggle with it more than most. And I feel like, tell me if I'm wrong, I feel like a lot of times it's because we feel guilty for delegating tasks. We feel like we're lazy because we're having someone else do something that we are totally capable of doing and have done in the past. What am I missing the mark? You're smiling.
I'm laughing because that is such a limiting belief of what is right. Like, so with women, right? Like, just kind of to give you the opposite, right? Women feel like they need to struggle, and the more they struggle, then they will be worthy to receive the success. Right. So it's interesting that it's the guilty piece there. For women, it's like they just need to work harder so that they're worthy once they get up there to.
Is that like keeping up with men type thing, or?
No, that's just in general, like it's just different mindsets, right? Of like different mindsets that we have of how to do
Okay.
things,
Yeah.
right? So it's just a belief that I think a lot of us have on just so tell me more about the guilt and what you hear from people.
It's not just here. Like this is how I feel sometimes. It's just like, I'm putting all this stuff on people's. For example, I'm going on vacation, and it's
Mhm.
like, okay, I need y'all to do this, this, and this while I'm gone,
Yep.
and it's normally my task, right? So it's
Yep.
like I'm putting extra work on people so I can go chill,
Got it. It's the
right?
relaxing piece.
Right,
Yeah, it's the
everybody
it's
else is working hard, and I'm not working hard,
yes.
right? And there, I do believe there are admirable attributes to that. Like if your team's working on a Saturday, you better be working on a Saturday,
Mhm.
unless there are, of course, extenuating circumstances, like you got a wedding, or your daughter's getting married. Who knows? There are extenuating circumstances that would get you
Right.
out of it. But for the most part, if your team's working on a Saturday on a day they're normally off, you better be there. Like no
Why are they
exception,
working on a Saturday?
huh?
Why are they working
I
on a
don't
Saturday?
know. I don't know. I don't have a good example. This is
Right.
just
Right,
this.
right, 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 right.
Stop trying to poke holes in my example, dang it. But no, just like my point is, there are times when that attitude shows up in a purposeful, useful way. But for the most part, I feel like that mentality is very destructive, and I'm guilty of it as well. Like I don't want to appear that I'm lazy,
Right.
and I don't want to appear like I'm just putting this off on people so I don't have to do it. When in reality is like I am having you do it because I don't want to do it, but I don't want them to realize that, or I don't know.
So I think I hear what you're saying, and I've been there. And what I have tried to build in my business, because again, I'm all about the and, right? So I expect that for myself. I expect that for my team also. And so I actually build autonomy into my business and into my clients' businesses so that we are able to pick up from each other when life is happening, whether it's a planned vacation, uh, they're getting married, they're having babies, like they're sick, whatever, right? That we are able to ebb and flow with each other, but it's expected as part of coming onto the team that you'll take the time when you need it. That doesn't mean that you just, by the way, I'm not coming in next week. It means that, right? Like we plan it out, we figure it out, we divide and conquer, but we're a team and we work together so that we can all have that freedom as well to go do things. That being said, I guarantee you that your team knows that you are not slacking, like ever, right? So you asking them to do something, it's okay, I got it. I'm glad I could take that off your plate versus I can't believe he's just doing nothing, right? Because we all know that that's obviously not happening.
Right. And yeah, I get but that is definitely something I've always, even in the military, I struggled with delegating because I just felt like, it's my job, it's my responsibility. And it was a hard lesson that I had to learn to delegate. But when it comes to being a leader, delegation is the most useful tool a leader has.
Mhm.
Because a leader's primary job is to build other leaders, to train your
Yes.
charges to be leaders.
Yes.
And the best way to do that is to delegate your
And
tasks
give
to
them a
them.
chance.
Yeah. Let
Yeah.
them fail. I call it failing softly.
Yeah.
It's
Like
when I
be
see,
totally in control. Yeah.
yeah, I see what they're doing. I'm like, that's not going to work. I tried that 3 years ago. And then, I'm there to help control the fall so they don't hit as hard as I did. But I let them fail. I let them feel a little bit of the pain of failing. And then I help them pick the pieces up and we move on and they learned a valuable lesson. You know, sometimes they don't fail, but sometimes they surpass expectations. That's great too. No, I love that. But and something man, I want to come work for you because I feel like your company culture is amazing. And the reason I say that is because I tell my clients all the time, the culture in your company isn't an accident,
Mhm.
whether it's good, bad, toxic, whatever. It's that way for a reason. Maybe you didn't intend for it to be that way, but it's that way for a reason. You
Mhm.
did that. Like, oh, I didn't do that. No, 100%, homie, you did that because culture
Right.
starts with you.
Right. Right.
So I love, when you started your company, did you already have in your mind, like, this is the culture I'm going to create in my company, and this is why?
No, so I've been as a project manager. I mean, I used to manage like, I don't know, 50 50 team member projects that were, 3-year projects, multi-million dollar, these big things, and I'd have 8 or 9 of them going at any time. And I've had to break it down recently, but I never understood because uh, most project managers, most owners, they feel like team management is like herding cats, right? Like they can never quite get a hold of them and they're all over the place and they're not doing what they're supposed to be and they're so frustrating and they don't hit their due dates and they're chasing them down and all of these things. I have never had that problem. Everybody always just gets me what I want, like when I want it. And so I've really had to over the last few years. So in building my business and actually creating my team and with clients, right? I work with their teams also in kind of getting them aligned and getting them on track and moving and everything. And I really had to break down what I do, right? And how I do it and kind of how I create that culture. And so one of the things that I can say as a tip that I've realized that I do whenever I always ask people to do things.
Mhm.
I don't tell them to do things. I fully expect it to get done, but I always ask and I uh, allow them or expect them to give me a yes back. Like, yes, I've got it. Yes, I'm on it. Whatever that may be. And it's always a please and a thank you. Like it's always polite. It's always, hey, I need this done. Can you help with that? I actually need it as soon as possible. Can you take care of that for me? Yep, I'm on it. Right. And like it gets done on time every time. And it's by asking and by having that verbal response back, whether it's typed or, whatever, by that, they are taking ownership. And so if they say it, they'll do it.
Mhm.
Right. So it's a simple tweak. And yet it has worked over time. Um, Autonomy, I think for me, I feel like I'm on a screen so much. And so I want to get out and get away. So that's where the autonomy comes in, is just I don't want to be sitting at a screen all day, every day for the rest of my life. And so I want to be able to move and shift
Mhm.
and change. And, I work with people all over. In all honesty, I don't care when my team works. As long as because the way that I've organized everything and I plan everything, they've got a deadline to hit. And as long as they hit that deadline, I don't care when they're doing it. So for me, a lot of the times, like as long as they're hitting their due dates, we're good to go. I don't care where you are or what you do or, all of those things. And we we don't have a whole lot of last minute stuff because we planned accordingly up front in order to do that. So that's where a lot of the autonomy comes in and they're so happy to be able to do that. Like they love working with me and love because there are no fire drills. There's no craziness. There's every once in a while, but it's usually somebody else on the outside made a problem. We now have to come in and fix it. But for the most part, it's really kind of smooth, with we do it. And because they get to work whenever they feel like working, as long as they're hitting, right? They've agreed upon those deadlines of when, yep, I'm on it. They've agreed to that. So then it gets done.
Right. And the counter argument to that would be, well, yeah, but if we let them just do whatever they want, then we lose control, and uh they're not going to do what they're supposed to do. And well, it's like you hear that, especially with like the way the world went after COVID with the what do they call it? Hybrid work environment. Um, a lot of employers hate it because they can't micromanage
Sure.
that work environment. And I agree with you. Um, I do my best work at 4, 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yep. Me too.
And I don't expect other people to do that, because that is a little insane. You and I are a little crazy when it comes to that. Like,
Well, I've got 4 boys, so they wake up at 6:30. So if I want any peace and quiet in my life, I need to get up early in order to do
right.
that. Yeah.
So I mean, oh man, 4 boys.
4 boys.
Oy, you poor woman. I mean, I have 2 brothers, and I feel bad for my mom. I can imagine a fourth like
Well, it's
that.
literally like from the time they wake up, it is constant motion, constant, like it doesn't stop, right? Like it's just bouncing off the walls from the time they open their eyes.
My mom went to the grocery store and left me and my brothers home alone. And my brothers, like my closest brother is 8 years older than me. And then the next brother is 10 years older than me. So, they're like teenagers. I'm pretty little. And mom left, me with them, and she went to the grocery store. We lived on this big farm, and we went out to the creek and found a garter snake. And one of my brothers was like, I want a snake skin belt. So we took this garter snake. We got my mom's good crock pot, put it on the stove. How do you get skin off a snake? You boil it, right? Put it in the water. Obviously, we killed it first, obviously. Put it in boiling water, put the lid on it, and then we went outside to go play basketball or do whatever. Mom got home. Like, I don't remember there being something on the stove, and she takes the lid off, and it's a
Heart
snake in
attack.
boiling. Oh man! And you know what my brothers did? They blamed me.
Of course. Of course.
Right?
That was the easy way to go.
Jerks. Anyway, so I can only imagine how much torture they put you through
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yep.
That's awesome. So we're running out of time, Traci. Thank you so much for coming on here and just sharing so much wisdom. It's been an absolute pleasure. I wasn't BSing the culture you've built in your company. Hopefully one day I get mine like yours. It sounds incredible. I'm sure your team absolutely love it. And that's why you've grown, and that's why you're going to keep growing, is because you've got that amazing team culture. I love it. It's so cool. Anyway, go ahead and tell us how people can find you, get a hold of you, learn about your services, maybe hear more of what you got to say.
Yeah, so you can go to goaldi.com, GOALDI. So I love goals too. So that's where that comes from. And I've got a business alignment assessment, so you can see kind of on the scale how you're doing, right? And where some improvements might be needed. But anywhere at the end of that assessment or anywhere on the page, there's a button, click to call or click to schedule a call. And let's jump on a call and see how I can help, or if there's anything that you need. I'm happy to chat.
Of course, that's awesome. And of course, I'm going to have all of Traci's links down in the bio or the show notes below. So make sure you scroll down and click on her links. Give her tons and tons of love. She definitely deserves it. And I know if you're an entrepreneur and your hair is on fire, she's going to be able to help you out. And then once you're done doing that, head over to renownedleadership.com. Come give me tons and tons of love. I definitely need it. So Traci, before I let you go, everybody or all my guests, they get the final word of wisdom. And the question's always the same. What is your best number one piece of advice for how our listeners can lead like champions?
I think we've already talked about it. It's choose. Just choose, like choose with a period at the end, right? Like choose, and that is it. And that is what you are creating, moving towards, and accomplishing. So it's just choose.
I agree. Life is a choice.
Yes.
Well, I agree so much. My wife actually really gets irritated when because I say life's a choice.
Yeah.
Like, you know, sorry. Anyway, no, I agree 100%. So that's going to wrap it up for this week's episode, guys. Again, Traci, thank you so much. And to all of you, thank you so much for joining us this week. We will be back next week. Same bad time, same bad channel. Make sure you tune in. I'll have another amazing guest for y'all. And in the meantime, don't forget, lead like a champion. Goodbye.